Hey everyone, Brett here from Tropical Mix, back with another video. And today I want to talk about a topic that I have wanted to cover for a while, and that is remasters and remakes. This is always a very good topic for discussion in the gaming community on whether remasters are necessary, or if they are taking away resources from projects that the studios could be doing, such as a new game in the series. Um, it's one of those things where, to me at least, when it's done right, it's done very well. There are lots of remakes out there that are just easy cash grabs that really aren't necessary or could have been better. I'll cover some of those today. But today I want to go over my top 10 that I have for the PS4 and Xbox One generation. I'll cover why I enjoy these, and obviously there's going to be other things on this list that, stuff that might be missing. This is what I have physically. I will leave in the comments a list of stuff that I do own digitally that I definitely think is worth playing, or stuff that I just don't own physically, because there are a bunch of other ones there. But first, I just want to cover my stuff that didn't quite honorable mentions that didn't make the list for one reason or another, but I think are still worth grabbing and playing. And the first one is the Batman Return to Arkham collection. This features Batman Arkham Asylum Game of the Year edition with all the DLC. Also Arkham City Game of the Year edition, which has all the DLC packs. This hurts that this isn't in my top 10 because Arkham Asylum is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. I just absolutely love everything about that game. And Arkham City's in my top 25 easily. So, both very good games. This is one of those remakes where I feel like more work could have gone into it. Obviously, having all the DLC is nice and being able to play them on modern hardware is amazing. However, they either changed the engine or something. These games actually look worse than the original releases, which is saying something. Obviously, they run a bit better. There is some frame rate issues still, and I don't think that has been fixed. So unfortunately, it's still worth playing through, but if you played the original releases, these are actually not going to run and look as well. So that's the first one. All right, second one, Dark Souls Remastered. Absolutely love this game. This upped the frame rate to 60, which in a game like this is very good. It also fixed one of the main areas in the game, which was Blight Town. That used to run at horrible FPS on the original hardware, whether you were playing Xbox or PlayStation. They fixed that, and I can say definitively it does run well. They added in the password system from Dark Souls 3, if you played that, where you can set a password. So if you want to play with somebody, you both just put the same password, and you should be able to find each other quicker. Which is really nice. They also included diagonal directional rolling, which in the original game you could only roll forward, left, right, or back. Now you can roll up left, up right, back left, which is really nice. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but in a game where movement and rolling is, necessary, it's a really good one. This is a very well done remake, or remaster, I should say. I really don't have any complaints about it. It's just the top 10 are just so well done. Okay. Next one is the Disney Classic Games Collection. The original one was just Aladdin and Lion King. The new one includes Jungle Book, which I kind of wish was included right from the beginning, and unfortunately, this does not, to my knowledge, feature any new achievements or trophies. So if you've played the original already, kind of not worth picking up. But anyway, so these were classic Disney games. Growing up, I mean, if you guys don't know me, Lion King is my favorite Disney movie of all time. I did play this game. Our aunt had a Super Nintendo, so I played a good amount of Lion King. That shit was hard. It's still hard to this day. Aladdin, we played the Super Nintendo version of my aunt's, and then we actually had the Genesis version for our Genesis. They do play differently. They were made by two different companies. I think one was Capcom. Don't remember the other one. But from my memory, both versions are in this. Lion King was the same, whatever system. Jungle Book, I have not. I played a little bit on the Genesis, but not a lot. But these are, classic games getting re-released from our hardware. You can play them. They up-resed them to 1080. There's a museum mode where you can get sneak peeks of behind the games. It's got the soundtrack from all the versions, and the best thing about these is a rewind feature. So if you're in a difficult segment of the game, which if you're playing a Lion King, most of that game is difficult, so you need a lot of precision. You can rewind if you mess up, so you can go back. Cool stuff. Unless you grew up on this stuff, I really don't recommend playing it just because it's very hard. But, seeing your favorite animated Disney movies in 8-bit, 16-bit is really cool. All right, next one. And this originally was not released by itself, was Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. It came out in, I want to say it was 2016, 2017. So this originally was paired with Infinite Warfare. You had to buy their $100 edition or whatever. You got this included, and they had said prior to release that this was going to be the only way you could play it. So me loving the original Call of Duty 4, that was the first one I started with. Outside of sometime playing some of the older Call of Duties, I was like, oh, I need this. So I bought that edition, not knowing a month later they were going to release it standalone. So anyway, yeah, this is just a remaster of the first Modern Warfare game, Call of Duty 4. This is kind of what made Call of Duty into a juggernaut. It plays out basically the same, with the exception that they incorporate Makarov, which was a villain in Modern Warfare 3. They actually put him into a cutscene part of the game. So it kind of fits the lore better. They even have an achievement for if you kill him in this game. Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. They released obviously the multiplayer was included because that was a huge classic out. And it played just like Call of Duty 4 remembered, how I remembered it played. The thing that made this kind of not a very good re-release was it didn't include everything. Call of Duty 4 had a DLC map pack, the Variety map pack, that had 3 or 4 levels. That was not included in this game. They did eventually end up releasing it, but you had to buy it still. I still don't own that because I think that's just bullshit. But it's good. Multiplayer is probably not active anymore, so if you're planning on playing Call of Duty multiplayer, I would not go for that. But story-wise, I think it's worth it. So if you can get that, that's a good one. All right, next, and if you watched my pickup video, I just got this. I have owned it digitally since launch, though. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. This includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 games from the Street Fighter series. So you got Street Fighter 1. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versions of Street Fighter 2. So you got Base, Hyper Fighting, New Challengers, Turbo. I think Championship Edition, which is the one I grew up with. So I liked having that in there. And then you got Alpha 1, 2, and 3, and then you got Street Fighter 3, Second Impact, and Third Strike. And I believe there's at least like 4 of them that you can actually play online, and I think that's like the popular ones. So Turbo, Hyper Fighting, Alpha, I want to say 3, and then Third Strike. Neat little package, lots of games. They have a bunch of art stuff you can look at. Sorry, so it's Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Alpha 3, Third Strike, and Hyper Fighting. Yep. So, yeah. If you like fighting games or you like Street Fighter, this is insanely worth it. So, definitely get a copy of that. The problem is, I don't think there's as much mainstream appeal with it, which is sadly a fighting game thing. So, all right. Next one. And this makes me sad because this is like top 3 franchise for me of all time. Ratchet and Clank. So this is the reimagining, reboot, as some like to call it. This is basically a retelling of the first game from Captain Quark's perspective. I just want to say the gameplay, like up until Rift Apart came out, this was the best in the series. And the art style, man, it looks like a Pixar movie. And that's about as much praise as I can give this game. They completely butchered a lot of what I love about the first game, and that was the characters, how Ratchet and Clank interacted, how different they were. Ratchet was kind of an asshole in the first game, so I can understand toning that down, which is what they did for like going commando and up your arsenal going forward. However, in this game, he's just completely nothing like he was in the original game. Clank's pretty much the same. My biggest one with this was they shoehorned Dr. Nefarious into it, who normally you wouldn't meet until up your arsenal. They make him the big bad, and Drek's kind of like a henchman to him in this game, which made me really sad because Drek I thought was a really good villain. Nefarious has been overdone to this point, and they also took out quite a few of the worlds. They completely changed up the guns and stuff, made it more in line with the future series of games, and they cut a lot of the characters. So I think if this is your first rodeo with Ratchet and Clank, I think it's a pretty good starting place. I think if you're looking for something, that plays like the first game in a more modern way, it does an alright job with that. But yeah, that was kind of a letdown to me. So anyway, those are my runner-ups. Stuff that I think is still worth playing or grabbing. But these, now we're going to dive into the good stuff. And starting with number 10, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So, this is the first 3 games remade in modern art style and graphics. We played Crash a good amount growing up, but it was a little bit hard and they weren't my favorite. But kind of seeing what happened to Crash after Naughty Dog lost the license for it has been, it was always kind of down. Like, I know Crash over Mind Over Mutant and Crash of the Titans have their respective fan bases, but it's kind of been, everyone knows it's been downhill since Naughty Dog stopped making these. But I just want to say Vicarious did phenomenal with these. They play basically how the older games play, that they kept the feel. They look great. The ability, you can play as Coco in these. And yeah, just great. They even included a DLC level that never got released on the PS1 and released on here. And this also led to Crash 4, which actually got really good reviews. So hopefully this is something that Activision continues. I love seeing Crash, like a game from my childhood, get new life into it. So moving to number 9, Last of Us Remastered. This came out in 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. Basically just was ported to PS4. Obviously runs better. And at the time of this video, we obviously have The Last of Us Part 1, which is a remake of this game. Brought up to the PS5 to make it play more in line with Part 2. I didn't play this as much. I played Last of Us on PS3. I liked it. I didn't really like the multiplayer and stuff, but Colin absolutely loves this. This is one of his most played PS4 games. Multiplayer was a hit. Story was good again. So definitely worth picking up if you have a PS4. All right, number 8, we got Borderlands Handsome Collection. So this is obviously with the name based off Handsome Jack, who was introduced in Borderlands 2 as the main villain, and also he was a part of Borderlands, the pre-sequel. So 2 games, features all their DLCs, 60 frames. This came out pretty early on in the Xbox One and PS4 life cycles, but these just play wonderfully. And Borderlands 2, I think, is actually one of the best shooters made in the last 15-ish years. So this was great. And you can play 4 players. They had, I don't know if this is still active, but if you had 360 save files, you could transfer that up to these, so you didn't have to start all the way over. They also do have, it's not part of this collection, but they have Borderlands 1 Remaster, which is definitely worth picking up too. All right, next one. This is actually something I have not played all the way through, but I want to get there because it is very well done what I have played. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. This is one of those most critically acclaimed series from the 360 gen. So features 1, 2, and 3, all DLC included. They actually changed 1 to play a bit more like 2 and 3 do. So the gameplay is going to be a little bit different from what you remember of 1, because it is changed. But this is literally just hundreds of hours of content right here, and I've never actually finished any of these games, so getting to play through 1 for the first time. I played a good amount of 2 back in the day, but great pickup. I think this is on Game Pass now, so if you have an Xbox, you can play it on there. Otherwise, it's worth the price. It's, like I said, hundreds of hours of content. So, all right, next one, number 5, Skyrim Special Edition, or if you haven't picked it up yet, Anniversary Edition. Start with this Skyrim Special Edition, remaster of Skyrim, all content included. So the Dawnguard, the Hearthfire, and Dragonborn expansions, which were all amazing. 60 frames, 1080p, looks great. They also included mods. So you have a mods list. I know PlayStation doesn't allow outside assets and stuff, so pretty much all the mods on there are going to feature, stuff from in the game versus the PC or the Xbox version. You have less limitations on that. So you're going to get better stuff on there. But this was just a great re-release. Didn't fix all the bugs that original Skyrim had, which was a lot, but I mean, it's got most of them. From what I know, it was the most updated patched version of the 360 version. So there is also creation content stuff, which is like official mods that Bethesda decided to re-release. If you're going for achievements and stuff, mods do disable those. So just a heads up there. But I mean, I did the 100% on this like I did on the 360 version. I still play this time to time. This is one of those games that never leaves my hard drive. Plenty of hours you can get here. And then the Anniversary Edition is just like a 4K upgrade. It includes a lot of that Creation Club content. So there's like a cooking and hunting stuff in there. So I think if you own Special Edition, you don't really need this because you can just get all that stuff in your game anyway. However, if you're jumping into Skyrim for the first time, go for this. All right, Skyrim was number 6. Number 5. Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection. This is the first 3 games in the series, so Drake's Fortune, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. Campaigns. Unfortunately, there is no multiplayer, which I think would have elevated this package even more. But this did come out after the Master Chief Collection, and with how that went, I think I understand why they decided not to do that. But this is a great way to play 3 really classic games. They did add in a new, I think it was Brutal mode, which was an even harder hard mode. I did not play those. Colin did, though. But this was a very well done collection. Very safe. The only... if you're looking for story-driven games to play, this is it. The only thing that would have made that better for me was if they included multiplayer. All right, number 6, Gears of War Ultimate Edition. So, this is a remaster of the first Gears of War game, which came out in 2006 by Epic Games. This actually included new content. There were 2 chapters that never made it into the old first release. I believe they were included in the PC version that came out later. But this is the first time we're getting them on console. Included a boss battle against a Brumach. So this was really cool. Very well done. It kept the multiplayer intact. And honestly, I never played Gears 1 multiplayer. Back in the day, I did play 2 and 3, but I never got to experience the first one. And this made me appreciate the shotgun so much more. It was a tight multiplayer, and I got a lot of hours out of this. Gears was one of those games where I really only played it online with friends, but I played a lot of this by myself. This also included beta access for Gears of War 4, which was cool. It also came with... let me see if I got them in here. Still own my stickers. This was before the backwards compatibility, where they made Gears 1, 2, and 3 backwards compatible, but I do know the Windows Store version's not as good, but this was a great thing. Story's amazing. They kept the darkness from the first game, so if you're getting into Gears for the first time, play this. Wonderful game. All right, number 4. This is going to be a very controversial pick. Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Dark Souls 2 is one of those games where it's kind of like considered like the stepchild of the franchise. Wasn't directed by Miyazaki. It was directed by their like B team while he was working on Bloodborne. Gameplay is pretty different to the first one. Instead of a world where everything like feels connected, this one kind of had like you had a hub and then you had branching paths. So kind of like a hand. Like you got your hub, you got one path, and you just keep going up that path, and then you have to go back and then go up a different one and go up a different one. Yeah, a lot of bad enemy placement. Uninspired bosses went into the original version of this. And like I like Dark Souls 2. Probably base Dark Souls 2 is my least favorite of all three, but Scholar I think just elevated it to another level. They changed a bunch, so all the DLCs included. Obviously, there was 3 separate DLC areas with their own bosses and stuff. This game, so this was the first 60 FPS Dark Souls on the Xbox. I think Dark Souls 3 might have been 60 on PS4, but regardless, this plays so wonderfully. Didn't fix all the issues like clipping, where your weapon like clips into walls when you're swinging and stuff, but it does a lot. It rearranged some enemy placement, added new stuff to like New Game Plus where you'll fight a boss, but now it's got phantoms. It included the DLC items like in the world, so like you actually had to find them. They were incorporated well. And this just, it plays so good. Dark Souls 2 had my favorite PvP out of the series, and yeah, I love this game. I love all the Dark Souls, but I like the changes they made with this. That just makes this the way better version to play over Dark Souls 2, in my opinion. All right, number 2, in a game that greatly needs a sequel, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So this was done by Toys for Bob. I believe they made Crash 4, if I'm remembering right. But anyway, so this is basically like the Crash remakes. All 3 games remade in modern art. And they play exactly how you remember these playing. Actually, they play better just because, with modern controls and everything. Spyro feels great to play. The voice acting in this game is phenomenal. The level and art style is amazing. I actually went through and 100% this because these games weren't as hard as Crash was back in the day, and that still holds true for this. I find this way more accessible than Crash is. One of the problems, the only major problem for this collection is not everything is on the disc, and that applies to the PlayStation 4 version too, but I don't know. This was so well done, and the Crash trilogy was well done, and Crash 4 was well done, that I want, whether it's Toys for Bob or Vicarious Visions or what's the other one? Beanox, I think. Spyro needs a 4th game. So that's my number 2. And my number 1, that's not even close, Halo Master Chief Collection. This is what made me buy an Xbox One. Originally, it was remasters of all the Master Chief games. So Halo 4, Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo 1, which included the Halo 1 remake that they did for the 360. And they did that with Halo 2. So Halo 2 got a brand new, updated at the time campaign. They remastered all the levels, the gunplay, and everything. So it plays like Halo 2 still, but with a modern coat of paint. They brought in Blur to do the cutscenes, which look phenomenal even to this day. I mean, this game is 8 years old. So, had the multiplayer. So, originally it was like 100, I want to say 8 maps from Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4. You could play all that online. This was broken and buggy at launch. Campaigns would just like, if you were playing campaign co-op online, it would just like freeze and lag like crazy. Multiplayer, if you got into certain lobbies, it would just crash, and it was horrible. But it was a lot of fun. They have since included Halo Reach, which is also remastered, 60 frames, all of that. That was added in the multiplayer too. Halo ODST was added, campaign. They now have Firefight, so you can play Firefight online for both of those games. And just mixing and matching. And they have more too. Like they've added armors from Halo Online, which was a PC game. They have like weapon skins and stuff now. New armors were added to Halo 3, Halo 2 Anniversary. There's some Reach armor that was unreleased. Yeah, I mean, this is just a love letter to Halo. And it, for the most part, works now. Like, everything works. They had a small team at 343 work on updating this. This originally included a Halo 5 beta access. Halo Nightfall, which was a live-action Halo show that they did leading up to Halo 5. Yeah, I've got hundreds of hours for this collection. And if you're going to play, like, if you want to play Halo, like, this right here is going to be your best bang for your buck. They've slowly stopped on the updates for it now that Halo Infinite is out, but we are still getting some new content, some new skins. We're getting some Halo 2 Anniversary love right now, which was, I think, desperately needed. But yeah, I mean, just if you just want to relive the stories, that's how you do it. It's on Game Pass. Honestly, I think it's like $40 on disc, so worth it in that case. But yeah, guys, that's my top 10 list. I know some of these picks are going to get scrutinized, but this is what I got. This is still stuff I mostly play to this day. So I will, like I said, I'll leave a comment down below with other stuff that I do think is worth picking up, like the Yakuza Remastered Collection or some other games I own digitally that I don't have, like the BioShock Collection. But yeah, just let me know, guys, what you think of this list. Let me know if any of these were bad picks or if I missed anything major. But leave that down in a comment below. And thank you for watching again.